Like an old Southern woman.
We got to get it together for this podcast, bro. Welcome back to BTG Squad. Listen, dog, I want to dip.
Hancock Graham.
What do you guys know about grizzly wintergreen? Today we're talking about, what do you call it? Encounters of the Fourth Kind. What was that movie? Encounters of the...
Well, his stuff's more about like stuff he's finding on the Earth, right? Or you want to talk about aliens first? Are we starting there?
No, we're going to talk about... Let's watch this Graham Hancock documentary.
Yeah, his stuff's more about like stuff on Earth, I guess. Not necessarily aliens. Right? You don't know what to put. I don't know what to do with myself.
Get it together.
Just gut it, be a man.
I'm not gutting anything.
I've done it.
You can kiss the darkest part of my moon. What Errol's talking about is he's talking about gut grizzly wintergreen tobacco chew. Sometimes he and I, when we get together, we dip because we are thug, and you might not recognize it, but real recognize real, right? So the real ones out there will recognize that we dip. From time to time, we're not addicted.
I am.
I'm definitely not addicted. Skis is addicted for sure, and it makes sense. I understand it. I understand his addiction. I'm not addicted, but it is cool to do it when we're around my boys. Like, it's a whole different ball game, you know? Like, when we're hanging out, I'm a man again. I have my nuts. My nuts have grown back.
Speaking of, man, gym time for me is getting real now.
You been hitting it or what?
I've been trying.
You want to show
Not
them?
long.
You want to show your new tattoo?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Skis has been getting ink, man. Show the rest of them. Look at this. This guy's balling out of control with ink.
Like a midlife crisis or something. I don't know.
Well,
no, man, it's just something new, different.
It's just overdue, probably, for you, right?
Probably.
It's not like a midlife crisis or anything. It's just sometimes you procrastinate on things, and you're like, you know what? I'm finally going to do this for myself.
Yeah, there's years. For a long time, I wanted to get one, and then I got my first one, and then I went to a really crappy shop. Speaking of, like, definitely do your homework before you do it. Got a crappy one, and then I was like, man, I need to redeem myself, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to, like, go, no, I like to go where I go. Like, it's legit place, I think.
At some point, I do plan on getting a tattoo from maybe your guy. Do you guys have any suggestions for what tattoo I should get? I have 0 tattoos on my body. I am a blank canvas, and I think God wants it that way, but I'm going to ask for forgiveness once it's over, right? It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. Oof, you can't say that when you're talking about God, but whatever.
You know what I'm going to do? When I die, I'm going to get them cut off, and I'm going to send one to each one of my friends and be all stretched out inside like inside a frame. It's like pinned up in there. Get a chunk of my skin.
Let's hope it's worth a bunch of money too, you know? By the time you die, it might be worth like a crap ton of money, dude. Yeah. Like if we build up this BTG Squad empire, those tattoos are going to be worth money. Somebody might skin you before you die for those tattoos.
That's not cool.
I don't want to put it out there like that, but you know what I'm saying.
Tattoo killer.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if I hired somebody to like take off, skin your tattoo?
Hey,
you like came in the studio, you're like, bro, some people kidnapped me, took my tattoo.
I just said you're number one suspect.
The tattoo sells for like $4.5 million online. We're like, oh, I wonder where that went. We just got a brand new studio out of nowhere. You're like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, man. We just got some donations.
Anyways.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Okay.
Graham Hancock.
We're going to watch this ancient apocalypse video. Now
Definitely
that
something that needs to be checked out online. Or on Netflix, right?
Yeah, this is a documentary on Netflix about ancient stuff. Let's watch the documentary and then we'll talk about this.
Did you know that you were picking a fight with academia? Because there's a lot of people that just don't want to hear this.
You have been at the front of the line for decades, and you exposed me to a lot of these controversial ideas that have now been substantiated.
Well, I'm Graham Hancock. I don't claim to be an archaeologist or a scientist. I am a journalist, and the subject that I'm investigating is human prehistory.
Dude, it's so nuts. Oh, that's not a long
Was that
enough.
it?
That's not a long enough.
Was that
Man, that's not long enough. one,
God
is it?
dang.
There's got to be other ones.
I don't know, man. What the hell?
They got cut off way too short.
Ancient Apocalypse Netflix trailer. Let's see if we can find, because how long was that one? 46 seconds, 35 seconds. They're not long.
No.
Those are the official trailers, dog. That's what we got.
Damn.
Well, I mean, maybe that's a good thing because they left you hanging like, wait, I wanted to see more of that trailer. Go watch it on Netflix. It's available now.
I'm telling you, check it out. It's legit. This guy, he's not an idiot. He knows his stuff. He's not just a kook.
Yeah, you and I, we're both in the process of watching this show, and I haven't made it. I don't even know how many seasons or episodes. I don't know how long this is. It like a movie?
There's like 6 episodes.
Okay, so I'm on
But they're pretty
episode
long.
1.
They're pretty long though. I think.
Yeah.
Like an hour or two long.
For sure, I'm on episode 1 right now.
It's like a mini series, boom, a docu series as they call it these days, right?
Yeah, dude, and it looks freaking incredible, man. Like because he's talking about all the things that I'm interested in life. I'm telling you, the amount of times that I drive down the road or I sit outside of my house and smoke a cigar and look up at the sky for like a freaking hour, like just because I'm looking for stuff. Like my whole life I've always been interested in anything otherworldly, you know? I'm always interested in stuff like that. Like, and I think that comes from me when I was a kid watching Star Wars, bro. Like I think it started with Star Wars for me, legitimately. Watching the old Star Wars footage, like those first 3 were put out and then they went back and made like 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
So I started out watching like 4, 5, and 6, those old ones. And it just, man, like, I'm the guy that loves flying machines, you know? I've never wanted to fly high. I always want to fly low and fast, you know? So, like, airspeeder, you know what airspeeder is?
Yeah.
Those crafts that they're making over in Australia to, like, they're, like, going to do races with these drone hovercrafts. They're crazy. Put an image up.
Like a bike, right? Like a bike almost.
Airspeeder, it's kind of like that. I think you're talking about, oh my God, I can't believe.
The ones you showed me were like more like a motorcycle almost. But
Yeah.
those would be sweeter if they were faster.
Right. And there will be at some point. But like that kind of stuff all ties into like this ancient apocalypse in a small way. Not necessarily it's not actually at all, I don't think, about flying crafts, but
Well, he talks about his thing is like prehistory. Like he's saying there was people are older than we thought, and he thinks there was more technology and then something happened. That's why it's called an ancient apocalypse, because he's predating stuff farther back, and he's proving it farther back than what scientists tell you nowadays. And he's saying the human civilization itself is actually way older than we think. And he's thinking there was technology back then that helped build the pyramids and all that, you know, that proves that. And then something happened. And because think now, if something happened with the sun even, that wipe out our power grid, they say we go back to like the Black Ages, right? Like you have to, like something happened to cause people to basically start over, and humans survived it, but then kept doing things. And now we're on a different path than what was once then, you know?
yeah. That's such a nuts. To me, that's such a crazy concept to try to.
It's not though. It's not crazy though.
I know, but it's not crazy. But if you try to think about it, if you think about a civilization in the past that had the capabilities to create the pyramids, and you think about what that time in the world must have been like, I don't know. Maybe not for you, but for me, it blows my freaking mind.
Well,
man.
it does. People were different then, you know, like whatever they created then is obviously are not what people are creating nowadays. But like maybe they had technology to help them create those things, and then something crazy happened so badly on this planet, but somehow people still survived it. Just enough people survived for the human race to thrive again. But think how many thousands of years that took again for things to happen.
Yeah. I would love to go and see how advanced they were. That's what I want to see, you know? Like,
also, don't forget to check out Joe Rogan's pod. He's on Joe Rogan too, and he has a podcast with him. That's definitely something to also check out.
you know what?
Because
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast episode. I just had it. It's episode number 1897. Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson were just on Joe Rogan.
It's like 2 hours long too. It's nuts, but it's good.
And they're talking in depth. Like the podcasts that you and I do are fairly short. And one day I would like to do like a 2-hour podcast or something like that. But those podcasts, that's the kind of podcast that you do with guests, you know, because you get to, I know everything about you. I don't give a damn, you know, like I can't talk to you about your life. But
well, these guys are on a whole nother level too. Like the information they have in our brains is nowhere near what we have. You know, like Joe Rogan does his homework. He knows a lot of
he does, and he's interested in it.
And this guy is like 70 years. The other guy, Graham Hancock's like 70-some years old. Like this guy's had a lifetime of like knowledge, you know. So he's not an idiot.
No, dude, these guys are super smart, and they've done this like for the majority of their life. Like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, they've been involved in this stuff for, I don't know, I want decades. How long is a decade? 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, decades. So it's like they know what they're doing, and they travel to these sites. It's not like they're just doing, like for instance, we'll go on Google and we'll look stuff up, or we'll go on YouTube and watch videos. These guys
are doing their homework.
Yes, they're creating the science that we go on YouTube and Google and look at. Like they're going to these places and literally looking at the dirt. They're like dating skeletons and doing stuff like that, rocks, like pyramids. They're looking at this crazy stuff. And it's always been one of the most fascinating things for me. Pyramids, for sure, is one of the most interesting things to me. They say the weird thing about pyramids is they say the reason like so many people built pyramids in that shape, the shape of a pyramid, is because it's the easiest way to build a building, like a structure. It's the way it goes up like that. That's the easiest way to do it. But it's also so freaking complex that we still, with all of our technology, we're planning on going to Mars recently. And we still have our people saying
we don't understand our planet enough.
Yeah, our leading scientists and our leading engineers and technicians are saying we don't know how they built this. Like, which brings to mind, like, they must have had. It couldn't have just been humans, right, that made them. Like, it wasn't just people pulling these bricks up and putting these. They had to have some kind of crazy, weird, like, technology that they were using to create this stuff, because it, like you were telling me earlier.
Well, he gets into frequencies, and that's what he says. Like, that's how there's certain frequencies that will help you do things, and then when you figure out what those frequencies are, and that's where they get into that.
Yeah.
But like I said, even that stuff, like if they start talking about it a lot, like I don't understand it. Like I know what a frequency is. I get what they're saying. But like once you break down the math and try to figure it out, like I wouldn't even know where to start.
No. And how could you? And now that's where aliens come into play, right? Where you're like, how could humans be? Well, you have to start at the beginning. Like, where did all of this start? We're human beings. Like, okay, I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory. I think there was a creator of this earth. Okay, I do believe in God. Whatever you want to say God is, yeah, I believe in God, right? I believe something created all this. It's not just an accident. It's too complex and too insane. Like, literally, we can't figure out the pyramids to like an exact point. So you're gonna tell me
built them somehow?
Yeah,
like
you're gonna
somebody on this planet built them, and we still don't know how.
Right. So you're gonna tell me the entirety of the universe, the way the sun works, the way like our stars and our planet, everything's aligned, and the way we have seasons, and the way we have humans, and the way we have emotions, and we have souls, you know, all this stuff. You're gonna tell me it just exploded out of nothing, like it was chance, you know? Like that's just, I refuse to accept it, basically. So it brings into question like aliens. Like I've always thought if you read the Bible, if you believe in any of that, like there's angels, right? And then there's demons. Like I've always thought, if we're looking at space and we see
bad and good.
Yeah, but if we're looking up at space and we see like UFOs or we see strange things, like I'm thinking we all know the stories of UFOs and people who have had alien encounters and all that. I'm thinking that's just angels and demons, right? But they're aliens. They're creatures. There's probably something out there that's way more intelligent than us that did create this universe and this planet that we're in right now.
Maybe they were already on this planet.
Dude.
Before we ever were, you know? You just never know.
See, this is the kind of conversation that just my mind can't handle it. I need to be high for this or something. We were talking about DMT earlier, right? Like I don't know how to
want that experience for sure.
Yeah, the DMT experience, and that's something Joe Rogan always talks about on his podcast. He talks about DMT, and you said Graham Hancock did it, right?
He's tried it and did
all
that
man.
Stuff. And they've had like awakenings every time people do it. They always talk about like they have like it changes their life.
Yeah, people that do it, they have that experience. They say that there's the person before and then there's the person after. Like even ayahuasca is kind of like a similar thing where you go and do an ayahuasca journey or whatever they call it. You know, you come out of it a different human being because you get to go. You get
spiritual journey.
Yeah, man. You get to
find
go.
Yourself.
Yeah, you go deep into your body and your physical being, and a lot of people say they feel this experience. They just love this crazy feeling of love. If you like, people try to like a mushroom trip, right? If you do mushrooms, you can have a bad trip because you're not.
You can go either way.
Yeah, maybe because you're not giving into it, like you're not letting it happen. You're trying to fight it and all this. But if you give into this, you just relax. You let it take you on this journey. And I'm speaking as a person that's never done this stuff, right? But these people, if you're going to do ayahuasca or DMT, which is something you and I want to try at some point, like you have to let that journey take you. You have to give in fully to it and try to experience it. At some point, we got to do it, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're going to be alive on this planet one time. Like, what if that's like the answer, you know? And like you missed it when it's right there. It's right there for you.
Yeah, man.
And you just don't even try because you're too scared or whatever, you know? Like, can't be scared of everything, man.
No. There's a very visual element to the world that we live in, you know? It's like a more spiritual, more energy element to the world that most people don't ever get to see. And apparently, like, certain drugs, I hate the word drugs. What do you, psychedelics, let's call them psychedelics. Certain psychedelics have the ability to take you to that place in your mind. Like you think you're drinking, like we're drinking. You think, you feel, when you start
use
drinking.
half your brain, you know? Maybe you're opening up something else in there that you can't access.
Yeah, you're going to a deeper place in your mind. It's allowing you, and people literally, that's the thing about DMT. Like everyone who does it, they see pretty much the same things, right? You know, they have
talk
different
about beings and stuff,
right?
Yeah, and seeing other things.
Yeah, but the beings are all very similar. Like in when people are explaining what they are, they're all like very similar things that they're seeing. Like everybody has their own experience for sure, but it's all like it can tie together, you know. So you're like, there has to be something else that's like that's completely
clouding your brain, I think.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't understand all the stuff. But this is a documentary that I'm gonna finish watching, and I got to admit,
he even the Graham Hancock talks about like even the Egyptians when they would, it was called the blue lotus or something. It's like a flower, and they would take that to like see things at the time too, which basically was doing the same thing, like take you on like a spiritual journey.
God dang, dude.
Yeah.
I want to see this world in 100, 200 years. What's going to happen? You know? Can you imagine? Like, where do we go from here?
I just feel like this guy's life, like what he's done, like seeing, like when he goes, he's like, man, I did what I could do, you know?
I really appreciate people like him that are out there who and we think.
Dedicates his life to finding answers.
Yeah. And I wish I just had someone who would fund me the way people might be funding him, you know, because I'll go.
Well, like
I'll
you
try
said,
to
he's
go.
a journalist, and he worked his way up, and now he's, you know, somebody famous, so somebody hires him to do these things. You know?
That's true, yeah. I would love to travel the world and look into stuff like this. If that could be my day job, you know, like, oh,
You'd
man.
love your job, I think.
I would
right?
freaking love my job. I've never been out of the United States of America. I haven't even been to nearly all of the states here. You know, I've been to like 5 states in the United States. Like, it's horrible. Like, to think about the entirety of the world that's outside of all this, and the fact that some people are so far beyond me, like Graham Hancock or Elon Musk, and they're like, man, we're going to Mars. Like, I'm in Egypt every day. Like, I'm looking at the pyramids. I'm studying them. And I'm like, I see it on YouTube, but I want to go. Like, those bricks, like the pyramid bricks, are so freaking massive. You know, I don't know the exact size of them, but they're
not just dragging the bricks up to the top of that.
No,
thing.
dude,
When they're
those-
hundreds of feet in the air, you know.
yeah, you have to have some kind of crazy technology. But this documentary, I'll admit, through the episodes, the parts where I'm at right now, I'm only in like episode 1. I wasn't paying as much attention as I probably should have. It was kind of, you know how you watch stuff and you're on your phone, you scroll through your phone and something's playing in the back. Like, I was doing a little bit of that on this, but if you're watching this documentary, I encourage you, even if you go watch the Joe Rogan podcast that he did with this guy or with these guys, go turn your phone off. Like, people don't focus on things the way they should anymore. It's like you don't have the mental, like, try to focus. If you're going to go watch this documentary, listen to what they're saying. Watch it a couple of times. Focus. Keep your mind open, right? Don't have a closed mind about stuff like this. They're telling you things that are literally, it's history, it's historical facts, you know, because they have the scientific ability to date this stuff and to give you, I mean, it's not 100%, but they're getting pretty damn close to what it is. Like, at a certain point in science, when you're examining things, you can say, well, it could only be generally down this path. This is what had to have happened, right? It couldn't have been a million different things. It had to have been generally on this path. So,
and that's what he says. Like, people, that's what he brings up too. He talks about, like, just because some people said, you're just gonna believe whatever someone tells you. Like, why is that what happened? That doesn't mean it's what happened. Like,
right.
Something else could have happened, and now he's finding things to, like, prove what he's saying.
Dude, it is an incredible documentary, and you have to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. When I'm finished, we got to come back here and give another review of it.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as we're finished completing it, we got to do another review of this, because there's so many crazy things about the history of this planet and the human beings that lived on it before us. To, like, we're idiots. When they go back and look at the history of us, you know what they're going to see? They're going to see our TikTok videos of our women shaking their butts with a thong on. Like, that's, like, how, like,
That's what I'm saying.
What are we creating?
Back then, too, they didn't have that stuff. So the things they were doing was more interesting, because they're, like, figuring things out, because you're not on your, like you said, you're not watching a video of somebody doing something funny. Like, that's what you're like, like,
Yeah.
you're dumbed down. And think back then when they're creating these things, like, what else are you going to do? Like, you're going to do something great.
Right.
Because everything else is boring?
Yeah, man, you had a life of purpose. A lot of people back then, I feel like they had a life of purpose. And nowadays I don't feel like I have much of a life of, you know, I'm not creating things. I'm not building anything. People build my houses. Like, you know, people back then, they all, like, if you lived anywhere, like, you didn't buy a house from someone. You built your house. And I mean, certain people did. Of course, we had the pharaohs and all that who had the slaves build their kingdoms for them and all that. But a lot of people who predate us, like, every experience that they had in their lives, they worked towards that. Like, now I don't work towards the experience that I have someone else does. For everything, my iPhone, someone else built. I didn't go through the process of mining any of the material and build. Like, I don't have that
Like
knowledge.
learning how it's put together, figure it out. You know?
Yeah, essentially, things are just given to us. You know, you think, yeah, I work for it, but things are just, they're almost given to you. Like, everything I have, the lights, the freaking, my clothes. They would make their clothes back then. You know, We don't have those experiences, so our brains are a little less, I don't know, stimulated now. You know, we're just kind of just dull.
Stimulated by dumber things.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. So it's awesome to see someone like this who's using his mind to explore those other people, like the people before us, their lives and what they went through and how they created these crazy things to the best of his abilities. And it's crazy to watch. And then we gotta finish all of that. Go watch that documentary. What's it called? Ancient Apocalypse.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
He's
check
also
it
on Joe
out.
Rogan's podcast. Check that out.
Check the podcast out that he did with Joe Rogan. It is episode 1897. Go watch it. It's incredible. Joe Rogan's been, and Joe, this isn't the first podcast Joe has done with these guys. He's done like, I think several podcasts with both of these guys in the past. So, but it's always like the most current thing, like is we have the most information in the most current episode. So you should go watch this latest one that they did. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. But on that note, I suppose, huh?
Dude, it's been a great podcast.
Yeah.
Man.
Fun stuff. Peace out. Check out. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Comment. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about or if you want to anything. We'll figure it out. All right? We'll catch you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Where are the aliens? Maybe they're among us. I don't know.